So can everyone hear me okay? I hope.
Yep.
Morning, Cathy. I hear you fine.
Awesome. Okay, so welcome to Morning Mugs. Our focus for the month is going green, and not just for yourself, but how can you encourage others in your chapter to go green? And what does that mean? So I'd love to get your feedback of how many of you pay attention to your traffic light scores. We have some chapters that really engage those, and some chapters are, they're too busy to be bothered with it, as one person told me. And I kind of have a problem with that because if we don't focus on helping each other, it just doesn't happen. And so what I'd like for you to think about is not just looking at your own traffic light scores, but who is someone in your chapter that you can help engage in that conversation and give them something to strive for. Because the difference, I was calculating the difference in numbers, and I don't have it on my slide, but I'll make sure for next time I'll pull it. But if you look at the difference, and thank you for closed business, of, the reason that we are participating in BNI is to make more money, but the difference in an amber score or red is about $6,000, and to a green, the average dollar amount is about $29,000. So for someone to say, I don't have time to pay attention to that, is laughable to me. It's kind of sad, actually, because they're not going to be the members that are making money and contributing to your bottom line. So I think it's really important that we help our members get there. So how are they scored? I want to review that just quickly. So traffic lights all have the same basis of 100 points divided into categories. Those categories are 70 to 100 are green, 50 to 65 are yellow, 30 to 45 are red, and then 25 and under are black, or grayed out, on there. So, they're in 5-point increments. And so we're going to talk about how you can impact those pretty easily, actually. And those factors are all determining factors. And we talk about the power of one. And I'm excited to report, and I'll be posting this on Facebook, our national director, Tim Roberts, is going to be on our webinar next Monday, and sharing some of his highlights of the success in his regions. They're about double our size, and he also is an executive director while he is serving as the national director for BNI. So really, really smart guy. So I'm excited that he offered to come on our webinar next week. And he actually kind of helped create the traffic light scoring system. So here they are. Here's the breakdown. We've got attendance, right? We know that we're supposed to contribute by being there, having referrals passed per week, visitors per week, one-to-ones per week, and CEUs per week. And that is bundled under the power of one. And when you hear us talk about member traffic lights and the power of one, those are AKA, right? Yeah, Quentin. Tim's podcast on the power of one. And I was going to share that with everyone today. He runs a really good podcast, and it's bnipowerofone.com, I believe. So attendance, so the scoring, and you may know this, but I wanted to review it because not a lot of people understand how they can impact their scoring. And so attending gives you the most points, right? If you send a sub, then you get awarded half of a point if you're late or have an early departure. And so you can see that 95 to 100, you get 20 points, 85 to 94, 15, and so on, right? And so let's talk about some ideas on attendance. For those of you that are on here, I would guess that you're probably attending all of your meetings. It's like preaching to the choir. But what I guess that I'd like to discuss for you all that are on here, and if we have some core group people on here too, you still can impact the power of one in your chapters as they're forming, because that's where you're creating the culture right there, is to say, okay, if we go back and we want folks to participate in these things on average, we can speak to that in the building phase for those groups. So Sherry, that's important, I think. And so some ideas on attendance. Well, show up, make it a priority. This can be one of your largest referral sources. And so what I'd like to see or have you all share is I want you to think of someone in your chapter that is, that maybe struggles with attendance. Maybe it's a new member that that just isn't really getting it. And maybe we need to back up a minute and say, when people are considering applying, that the membership committee really hounds, you've got to show up to get anything. And if you can't attend, then what do? You send a sub, of course, right? But the idea is that if you attend more than not, and I know Quentin, I think you've been on here, you've been green forever. There's a lot of folks that, like I said, you guys that are on here on a regular basis are no surprise, probably more in green than not. But how can we help engage other people in your chapter? That's my challenge to you, especially if you're a green member and it comes natural and easy for you. And that's, for me, I think, some things are just easier for a lot of us. How can we help mentor or coach someone to do better, to strive to do better? And when people aren't attending, that always is a red flag to me. If there's an attendance problem, if they were getting their cup filled with accepting, being accepted into the group, referrals and closed business, why would they miss, right? So that always makes me wonder. So think of someone in your chapter that maybe you could reach out to that is not so high on the attendance list. Have a one-to-one with them and find out how you can help them. I think sometimes people are on their way out, and that is one of the determining things. If something is not clicking for them, and let's figure out what that is to help them. Any ideas on attendance, on sending subs that you guys want to share? I think it just, you either see the value or you don't. And in showing up on a regular basis. And of course, we know that they're not going to get referrals if they don't show up. So it all contributes. So again, if you're bringing in an average of one referral, yes, Val, I say that subs are like good friends. You need to know who they are before you need them. And I was told many years ago by the executive director in Tennessee, Reed Morgan, when I said, but you don't understand, I'm a solopreneur. I don't have anyone to send. And my ex-husband at the time, when we were married, let me know very direct that he was not going to sub for me, ever. He never did. And nice, I know, but very supportive. But hence ex-husband. Anyway, but that is true. If he said to me, well, if you always have a visitor lined up, then you have a backup sub, which was true. I didn't want to hear that at the time, but yes, Val, that's a great suggestion, is just kind of have a sub on call. The idea, of course, for our referral partners is to make sure that that sub, if saying audio. Okay, great. So, I think on the referrals, let's talk about, we talk about the referral confidence curve, and I'm going to overview these, and then we're going to break them down a little bit more each week. But it'll be interesting, Tim's perspective for next week. He's got a really good program planned for us. But having an average of one referral a week, how are you all handling that? Are you feeling pretty confident? And again, I'm preaching to the choir here. There's a lot of the green members that are already on this call. So how can you use what's really easy for you. Some of it goes to the referral confidence curve. It takes time, of course, but maybe helping out a newer member, engaging them in some things, and it's educating yourself on how to leverage your network, how to listen for referrals. And so I think that people just get busy and they don't focus on it. They could go onto Facebook, LinkedIn. They can use their social media resources to help. They can, introduce their clients, introduce their members to their clients in many different ways, on their Facebook marketing, on their email, their newsletters and things like that. So they just have to think outside the box and have some tenacity with it, I think. How do you all, for those of you, and I don't see my chat pod, but how do you all make sure that you're focused on giving referrals? Let me look and see what everyone was sharing on there. So what's y'all's average? Quentin or Val, what do you, or Anne-Marie even, how do you listen for referrals? And you probably don't wait for them to happen, I'm guessing, right? You go and find them. When we were talking about, there's a really good podcast that Tim does that talks about the advocator, the different types of referral partners, and we've done training on that on the Morning Mugs. Most of us that are on these calls and our green members, you don't sit back and wait for it to happen. You carry your referral book. Isn't that funny? We were doing training, one of the member success programs, and someone said, well, with the digital stuff, you don't really have to carry the book anymore, but see, the book is nice to carry, the card caddy. And that is a great way to open it up. And you can do that with the technology part as well. So it's just educating the people on, hey, I know a lot of other people way beyond our scope of work. If you ever need anything for your home or your office, please let me know. I'll put you in touch with people I trust. Pretty simple, right? We all think it's simple, but I think people get busy and that dilutes the mission there. So, I think someone was sharing an idea with me that they said they take the featured speaker and focus on 2 weeks out trying to find referrals ahead of time for the featured speaker. And really, that's how they're focusing. And Val says, before I go to any meeting, I flip through my referral book just to remind me. Yep, that's just bringing it top of mind. Just, glancing over your members. If you take notes, let's see. Use the app to get referrals and visitors at holiday parties. So I think that's a great idea. The app is, if you have not downloaded the app, oh my goodness, for existing chapters, download the app for goodness sake. I have app envy because in our directors, since I'm personally not in a chapter, we have a pretend directors chapter out of Antarctica. It's the Burr chapter. And we can use functions in BNI Connect on the computer, but not on the app. So I'm hoping that they'll hurry up and get that for us. So I have a dead app. I have the app, but it doesn't. I can't function well in there. So, so the app is great. But I just pull up, a chapter's roster and show people the electronic version. Right? You can send a link to someone as well. So, any other ideas on how you're finding referrals for folks? Okay, I'm going to move on. So our next slide. The next one is on visitors. There we go. And so it's an average of one visitor a month, just a month, right? And so that shouldn't be that difficult. It's not one per week, but you look at the points that you get. If you hit that at least one per month, you get 20 points. Bam, done. And, when you're chatting with clients, I don't know, for some of you, this one new member I was chatting with called his old boss and the people he used to work with and said, hey, I've joined this networking organization. Could I sit down and talk to you about the people in my group? And then that way, if you ever need anything, you can call. And they all said yes. So he's leveraging his older contacts to help open doors. So I thought that was great. He's, using the card Cathy testimonial as a way to develop, referrals and even visitors. And he asks his clients, if, he's in a situation, it's a service industry, so he doesn't know what their industry is, unless he asks. So he came across someone that was a landscaper, and he said, oh, I'd love to introduce you to my referral team. Would you like to come and meet them? And he was like, oh, wow, thanks so much. So I think that's a really easy way to invite. Any other ideas that you guys want to share? And I'll read them. I mean, this is like inviting visitors is my like happy place. So I could give you all kinds of ideas on that. But I always just say, look, if you think about 5 by Friday, and I know people want to hit me when I say that, but what would your chapter look like if you had 5 confirmed guests? It's only Monday, by Friday of this week, to help build your contact sphere or help someone in your chapter. If you had 5 confirmed, you'd certainly hit this, wouldn't you? You'd be at the top ranking of having visitors. And I guarantee you the referrals will happen as a result of that as well. So any other ideas on visitors? Yes, so Anne-Marie said 2 to 3 of their folks visit other networking organizations and invite people. That's for sure. And, there's a lot of folks. I was reading some statistics from our CEO, Graham, and, there's still a lot of business people just in our own markets that have never heard of BNI, that are out spending dollars on advertising and marketing that may or may not be working for them. There's just so many out there that they probably don't network even. So I think there's a lot to be said, Anne-Marie, with that, but then there's still so many businesses that have never been introduced to BNI. It's just amazing to me. So even reaching outside of those networking events, just to ask people, we talk all the time about, being specific in who you're looking for as an introduction, but then as a chapter, we make the mistake, and as a region, we've made a mistake to say, oh, just have visitors. Well, what does that visitor look like? Who do you want to focus on? And I think as a chapter and as a member, taking it all the way down to the member to say, who is your target market? Who is a referral source that can help your business? Because I think, and remember, I've been a member for many, many years. I've started my own chapters. I've been parts of really great chapters and sucky chapters, just to be honest. I've seen a lot of it. I've seen it's just crazy, the dynamics that my groups personally have been in. And but one person can't do it alone, right? So when I used to hear, oh, invite. Well, I think members think of that as growing BNI. Yes, that's great, Anne-Marie, to break down the power or the contact spheres and focus your inviting, because the more we focus and say, okay, who do I personally need to be in front of for my business? Not for BNI, for my business. What's in it for me? We've got to break it down that way. And so maybe when we're talking about inviting visitors, maybe ask another member to partner up together to say, hey, I think if we focus together on visitors, let's figure out who we need to enhance our contact sphere. Let's break it down and say, let's say you have an opening, and I think this is so simple for our chapters to do, and just as members to do, to say, we did this with an insurance agent that was struggling, a personal lines agent, and we went through the contact sphere, and we said, okay, you're in the real estate sphere. What's an industry that you don't have a relationship with, and let's help build one. So we used pest control. It was his, yeah, that's perfect, Quentin. I'm glad to hear that. So he used pest control. And I said, well, do you know a pest control company? He goes, well, I think I know one. And we talked about know them really well or just kind of sort of know their name. And I said, well, I bet you know another one. because he had said he knew one from meeting them out networking, because he's out networking. And I said, okay, that's great. And, get his information. So that's one. And I said, you know another one. You just don't know you know it. And he's like, what do you mean? And I said, your office, I guarantee you, is being serviced by some commercial pest control. He goes, I hadn't thought about that. And I said, go to your office manager and ask, hey, or your property manager, and ask who services our office for pest control. And he goes, I had not thought about that. And he felt excited. I love seeing people get it's like showing them the light bulb for the first time, And he was like, I had thought about that. And I said, now go on to Facebook and ask people, hey, in this area, who do you recommend for pest control? And he got 5 people to recommend 5 different companies. Some of them he didn't even know who they were. They weren't the big, advertisers. And so through the whole exercise, now, because we said, has a pest control person ever sent you business? And he's like, well, no. And we talked about the value of that referral partner, that if they're trained properly, how many people are they in front of for your business? And so we went through that exercise, and he was so excited. And he's like, I'm just going to invite them for the whole month until I get people in front of me, and that joins the chapter. And but it was the same kind of thing. That was a nice reminder for me to say, yes, focus together on inviting those visitors to help your business. And if they join, great. If not, you know what? Your chapter's going to be there still. You're going to be, there. So, it just focus on building your business first, and as a byproduct, your chapter benefits from it. So, so that's visitors per week. Let me see your other chats in here. Oh, that was ideas for visitors. So I wanted to go. Quentin said he used that as a strategy with a one-to-one last week, just to partner up, I guess is what you're saying. And I think that's a big thing. So when you're partnering with someone, to actually say, who do we want to identify, and not just the whole sphere or, too many people, but just focus on one. Remember, let's keep this simple, the power of one, right? And so, get rid of that. Facebook is on there. So I think, that's really key. And of course, we know that once we invite them, that we're going to register them, email introduce them, and so on. So that's the visitor ideas. And then let's get to the one-to-ones per week. Are you, again, preaching the choir here, but are you able to carry that off? It sounds like yes. So if you have an average of 1, you get 20 points. So, and you don't need to be an overachiever. Like someone said, well, I did 4. And so he's done for the week, or for the month, one-to-ones. He did 4 one-to-ones in a week. And I was like, oh my goodness. He goes, well, don't I get extra points? I'm like, no, you don't get extra. You cap out at 20 points. He was like, oh, shoot, this is the same new member. He was trying to build his points on one-to-one. I'm like, I'm not discouraging you. I'm just saying, maybe you need to focus your time on some other things, but he is trying to get to know each other. So one-to-ones, fitting them in, again, being strategic with that. I don't know if you all have any. Look, they're having one-to-one over sushi. That sounds good. Let me see if we have any one-to-ones on that. Any strategies on one-to-ones? I always like to have just a standing time for one-to-ones so that I can fit them in, because it's so hard to manage your calendar. So I don't know if you all have any input on one-to-ones, but I'm going to move ahead. But I think, look at some folks in your chapter that are not doing a lot of one-to-ones and see if you can engage some of these folks. I think that is valuable. And then CUs, well, here you go, you're here. But there's so many ways to get CUs. We do want to make sure that, like this one new member said, is this just on the honor system? I'm like, yes, it is. It's on the honor system. They're all B&I related CEUs. They're not, well, I took this training course for my CPA designation. No, that doesn't count as a CEU for us. It's all about building your referral marketing strategy, relationship marketing, those kind of things. Excuse me, those kind of things. Going back through member success program, advanced training, it's just to clarify, it's for every hour that you're spending, it's about one credit for a CEU. So the whole month. So you're doing 30 minutes today, 30 minutes the next, and the next, and the next. And so you just add those up. So obviously, an average of 1 hour a week gets you 20 points. Or you go to one of the, the trainings for the whole month for the morning mugs, or go listen to podcasts, and you rack those up as well. So, and then ideas on the CEUs, the podcast, BNI podcast, there's SuccessNet, there's the books, there's Tim Roberts that we talked about, The Power of One, is also. So, and what we're going to start doing once a quarter after the roundtables in each area. So starting in, let's see, January, February, March. So in April, we're going to celebrate after the roundtables and have kind of a networking mixture of sorts. We'll invite visitors for those regions and those locations, but we want to highlight the green members as well. So first time or returning green members. So be on the lookout for that. We want to really start recognizing the pillars, for being green. That's the focus. It's one of our core values is recognition. So we have the green buttons will be back out there as well. So your directors will be highlighting the green folks, and then if they fall off the green wagon, then we'll take that button back and help them get right back up there. So I think we're at our 9 o'clock hour. We are. So I'm going to skedaddle. And if you have not liked their Facebook page, go like it and take a picture. Thanks, Quentin, and whoever else has posted some things on there. I am going to let folks know we have the ability to have 50 folks on this webinar. So go ahead and get registered for next week so that we have room for you with our national director. I'm really excited that he's going to be on there with us.
Have its own page?
What's that?
Does Morning Mugs have its own Facebook page?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't, but we thought about doing that, but then it's another Facebook page to manage.
Okay.
But yeah, just if you want to go and just post that, I think you already did on ours. That's perfect. So, all right. Well, thanks everybody. Have a good rest of the week and go green. Thanks. Bye-bye.